This is Anthony Martinez, and I'm here with the lovely
Daisy Chazzy Juan, guys.
And this is our podcast called Spirit Speaks. We just, thought it would be a great idea that we just have a place where we could just talk our spiritual shit. Exactly, right?
And you guys know I love to talk shit. But I always back it up, okay?
The truth never lies, even if it smells like shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I shit.
Yeah. Amen. Namaste. But yeah, so, this, podcast, we want to just have a place where we could all just talk about what's in our minds. Sometimes when we're in the world, in the matrix, we can't really talk, to our coworkers about certain things. They think that we're fucking loonies.
Not just coworkers, like
just
people in general,
yeah,
right?
like
there are
NPCs.
certain topics that are like touchy for certain people, and we're here to just say the things that other people don't want to say, that they know are true, but they are not willing to say it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is, hopefully we build a community together where we could just, have, we want you to be part of our family.
Exactly.
Like, I love speaking with Daisy because we could be so transparent with each other. And so what better way, to have a place where we could talk about, amongst friends and stuff. So this is Spirit Speaks.
Welcome to our podcast, bitches! I am excited.
Drum
I'm a
roll.
little nervous, but I am excited. Let's go!
Yeah, so let's tell the people a little bit about ourselves, don't you think?
Okay.
Do you want to start first? Ladies
Sure.
first.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, my name is Daisy Chazzy Juan. I am Ecuadorian. I was raised in Queens. I was born in Ecuador, raised in Queens. When it comes to spirituality, there is a huge misconception as to what spirituality is, and people usually think it's witchcraft. And we're gonna get deeper into that in our following episodes. But I do a little bit of everything. I would say my main path is shamanism.
Yeah.
Right? Shamanism, because I do plant medicine. I work with plant medicine. I also communicate with spirits. I do tarot readings. I get messages through like images or certain type of pictures. So there's like a little bit of everything that I do. I do spiritual cleanses. I love doing my floral baths. God and the universe have given me all these gifts that I'm able to like share with other people and help other people find their true self. I feel like one thing that my family is really good at is what's the word that I'm looking for? Labia.
Labia. Oh,
Sweet talk.
Yes.
Right? When you sweet talk someone, right? My family is very good at sweet talking people, right? But now
the gift of gab.
there you go.
Yeah.
So now I like to use that to sweet talk you into believing in yourself, bitches, because at the end of the day, we're all powerful beings. We all have different gifts that we were born with, and we just sometimes need to like figure out how to use them, how to dig deep to make sure that we're utilizing our gifts, because at the end of the day, when you're not utilizing your gifts, you're doing a disservice, not just to yourself, but to your community, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's a little bit of what I do.
Yeah.
And I've also done business management. I've done business management for like the last 15 years. I'm a Capricorn moon.
There you
So
go.
there-
I was going to say, let's get into our little astrological
Charts, yeah.
charts, before we dive deeper. Well, you're a Capricorn moon and...
Capricorn moon, Aquarius, and a Sagittarius rising, bitches. This is where the fire's coming from. I have a lot of Sagittarius placements in my chart.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. And we love it.
And I love it. Yes.
So I guess a little, introduction to myself. I'm Mexican. I was born here in New York. I'm from the Bronx originally. And
Boogie down.
The boogie down, the X. But yeah.
Well, they're alone now.
It's not that bad.
No, it's not.
But yeah, so, I don't even, I'm a Cancer sun. I'm a moon in Scorpio, and I'm a rising Virgo. So
Intense hope.
I'm a very passionate, intense motherfucker, but I'm very, I'm very sweet. I think there's if it's one thing about me is that in this tough world, nice people always tend to fucking get I have a warrior path. Let me tell you that my path in this life has definitely been like shamanism and warrior. Go hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
Um,
I also train jiu-jitsu.
yeah,
There
she
you
also
go.
kicks ass.
And I teach the kids. I coach kids.
Yeah, she trains with hands.
So
and fists.
100% warriors here, okay?
Definitely. So, yeah, me and Daisy have so much alike, and so much parallels. It's just manifest, I feel like we're walking to the same destination. Our journeys have been, intertwined together some way or another. But yeah, so me, so I used to do science research in plants. So I'm very into plants. Right now I'm a gardener, landscaper, and I used to work at the New York Botanical Gardens. So I'm very much in tune with Mother Nature, Mother Earth. I do also plant medicine too. And yeah, it's just one of my gifts.
He has many gifts.
I can't really, I'm blank out. I'm also, I love music. I'm a musician too.
We're a little nervous. Birth charts.
Yes.
That's what he specializes on.
Yes, I studied astrology for a long time. Placements, synastry, just a lot of things you could really learn in astrology. You just have to learn how to read the stars. And a misconception too is that, it's, we get that word, it's brujeria.
Brujeria, witchcraft.
It's witchcraft, it's demonic, but...
They're going to put a hex on you. You're not going to go to heaven.
But all of this stuff that the church has, kind of made a taboo. But in reality, we're trying to take our power of understanding, the world around us. The universe is definitely part of that. So I definitely look up in the stars and all that good stuff as well. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. That's a little bit about her. We also want to touch upon, I guess, our spiritual awakenings.
100%.
We weren't born like this. Life kind of wakes us up. Makes us conscious of certain things, and I feel like everyone has to have that spiritual awakening at one point in their lives. If you haven't, then I'm sure it'll come up one day. Hopefully sooner than not later. But yeah, do you want to talk about your spiritual awakening?
Sure. So, I've had a few, right? But the one that really, really hit. Also, this is my daughter Mia. She's 14. She stuck to my hip. Okay, so Mia will
she
always
out
be
too with crystals.
With crystals. She got her pearls. You see her dress, looking all pretty. She's a Leo. Attention whore. But I would say I've had a few, right? There's two that one when I realized that I needed to change my attitude, because I was a very controlling, narcissistic person, extremely controlling. I used to have an ex who I literally had by the balls at one point. If I told you walk this way, you had to follow that way, because if you went the opposite way, we were fighting, right? So I feel like that's when everything started, when I realized I don't want to be this person. This is not who I am. I don't like being nasty. I don't like being mean. I don't like being controlling. Also grew up in a very abusive household, and I learned at an early age that it's better for you to be the abuser than be the one that's getting abused. I got that from my dad, okay?
That's so machismo.
So machismo, yeah, machista, not machista, So, yeah, I got that from my dad. So eventually I decided I wanted to change. And when I started changing, this was probably about 12 years ago, because that's when I broke up with this relationship. 2014, and that's when I started kind of doing my work, my internal work on just focusing on myself. I was still very much into church, right? 2018 is when everything changed. 2018, someone had told me, you're an Aquarius like the mystical things, you should get into crystals. And then the first crystal that I came across was an amethyst, which is the Aquarius crystal. Yeah. And it called me and I went with it, but I've always had a thing with my horoscopes. Yeah. Whenever I read my horoscope is always on point. And I always forget what I read. So it's not like I read it and then I'm thinking, this is going to happen. No, I usually realize a week or 2 weeks later, oh wait, my horoscope said this and this happened. Yeah. So my horoscope has always been on point. And I started, 2018, I started doing yoga, and I started meditating again. And when I started meditating, and I say again because I forgot that I used to do it as a child. I wasn't even aware that I was meditating as a child. It was more to block out the abuse. My dad, like I said, he was very abusive. We're gonna get very candid here, and I'm very open about things that I've been through. But my dad was very abusive, so whenever he would beat my mom, one of the things that I would do would be like stare into the wall and then just like get lost into this world and this universe, and I'm like, and I'm blocking out everything that was going on, and I'm like literally floating in space. And I was like 8, 9 years old when I used to do this, and I wouldn't speak to anyone about it again because this is a taboo, right? And I just thought I was crazy, right? And in my family, nobody speaks about spirituality or meditation or anything like that.
That's a huge Aquarius thing too, detachment. It's
Yeah,
like an astral projection. So.
And I do a lot of that. I astral project, I control my dreams, like I lucid dream. It's,
Continue though. Yeah.
It's a lot. So eventually I decided, like 2018, before I started yoga, I started meditating again. And in that first meditation session, like I went in so deep, I went into a trance, and it took me back to my childhood. To like, remember you used to do this when you were younger. Like you have these gifts. And that's basically when it started. It started with yoga, started with meditation. Little by little, I got into jiu-jitsu, which also helped me out a lot, jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. And it just really helped me discover things about myself that I didn't know were there. So in 2018 is when I grabbed my first deck of cards, purchased my own deck because I wasn't going to wait for anyone to gift it to me because, again, no one around me is into these things, right? And so everyone else, it's like, this is brujeria. So I gifted myself my first deck, and when I put my cards told me my life for the last 10 years up until that day. And it was so on point that I was like, wow. So I started practicing with my friends little by little. And I remember I went on this date. Mm-hmm. It was a first date. And we're here talking, and I'm talking to this guy about Aquarius, Sagittarius, and Capricorn because those are my 3 main, right?
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, he looks at me, he goes like, you should do horoscopes. I legit looked at him straight in the face. I was like, I don't give a fuck about the other signs. Because I honestly, like, I did it, right?
That's so funny.
I did it. And he looked at me the most serious way. He was like, well, you should. And I got home and I told my friend, I was like, can you believe he just said this? And we were like more shocked that he actually believed in these type of things, because I didn't think he was that kind of person. And fast forward 2 years later, I'm here doing horoscopes. So now I do horoscopes. I also post horoscopes on my page every Monday. Follow my page.
Awakening your cosmos.
Awakening your cosmos, yes.
Wow, that's very interesting. It's funny because there was a lot of like things we had in common too. Because my spiritual awakening too occurred like around 2017, 2018 as well. So I think something happened, you know, where people were just starting to wake up, you know, and that was like pre-COVID. Like to me, like you said, spiritual awakenings, you get a lot of them, and many different times in your life, you know. Spiritual awakenings, I feel like, to me, has always been kind of in my life, like you said, as a child. Like I remember I just had such, like, I don't know, deep questions that I just like always, as I remember as a kid, I still remember like in kindergarten we had like this like science project of like having caterpillars and them turning into butterflies, and I still remember that so vividly. Like, wow, like this, how is that life, you know what I mean? So I've always had as a kid like just these deep yearning for learning more about everything, you know. But yeah, like you said too, I was also you know, as I grew older, you know, all of the things that, you know, make us forget about, you know, who we really are inside, these spiritual, you know, powerful beings, you know, like you gotta go to school, you get indoctrinated, all of this thing just blocks your mind from, you know, being in touch with yourself, right? So as a teenager, as an adult, you get numb to certain things, and you just kind of lose yourself, you know, and then you have to find yourself again. So I feel like again. So I feel like that's what spiritual awakenings are, you know what I mean? This kind of like epiphany, this moment where you're just like almost you could breathe again, you know, like. And I feel like I'm having another one like,
at the moment. Same. Aquarius, I've been going through it, but same. It's funny that you mentioned your science project because I didn't know about that. And you are into plants, like this is your thing. So
yeah, I was definitely a researcher, you know. So it goes back to, you know, tie it together. Like I won a National Science Foundation research opportunity to study in Africa, to study agriculture with the Moroccan government, and so they paid for my trip, and so over there we also studied like healthy ways of dealing with pests and crops, you know, because everything here in America, everything is chemicals. But in Morocco or in Africa and other places in the world, they try to do things organically, you know. So we were using like oregano essential oils, thyme, and I was in the lab like, you know, I see the bacteria, I'm putting a little bit of oil, I see how much, you know, studying, and I really did enjoy it. And that's again another like spiritual awakening where I'm just like, yo, but like, what am I putting in my body? What are these crops, you know, what are they feeding us and all that stuff? So I just started realizing I wanted to go healthy, so I became a vegetarian for like a year, trying to practice that again, but in that year, like things were just aligning with me. And when I came back from that trip, I started, I remember thinking like, I want to be somewhere where I'm noticed, you know what I mean? I growing up in New York, you have to hustle. So I would always be yeah, like I would always be fucking working these crazy jobs that I just hated. And I just was like, I need a place where I could just grow and be myself. So one of my best friends, shout out to Elijah, he was like, yo, like, remember that crystal store I brought you to? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you should come work here. So I started working at a crystal store, and there's where I met Daisy too.
Crystal's Garden.
Yeah, Crystal's Garden, the East Village. Shout out to Crystal's Garden. You guys should definitely check it out. It's a magical place.
It's a beautiful store.
It's a magical place. It's a portal, really.
It is.
But yeah, and so there's a lot of spiritual awakenings that occurred. Like I remember I was in a very toxic relationship too. That you know, I was madly in love with, you know, my high school sweetheart, and I didn't realize at the time that, like, you know, this bitch was just like an energy vampire. Like she was just sucking the soul.
There's
out
a lot of you like that.
Like, you know what I mean? And I just didn't realize it. They might see this one day, but yo, when I just, you know, had the courage to just, like, you know, break up with her, like, oh my God, I felt so free. At first it hurt. I was lonely, you know, but I think in my solitude, like, I started kind of,
there's a sense of freedom.
Yeah, I started being myself again, and yeah, I remember just learning so much about, you know, our ancient cultures, you know, ancient civilizations. Had, you know, these experiences with these amazing elders and friends that kind of just point me to the path of what I was searching for, you know, the truth. And yeah, because if you know your past, you know your circumstances here, and if you know your circumstances here, you could definitely alter your future, you know. So
100%.
I feel like yeah, was part of my journey.
Going to the science project, it's funny because, like, see, as kids, we're kids, so like, again, this is, especially with Latinos, and back in the day, this is a taboo, right? And it didn't hit me until not so long ago. Like, as a child, I would always win my science fair project for my class, always, like every year, and I always did the same project.
Yeah, what was your project?
The Morse code.
The Morse code, yeah.
Which makes sense.
About the Morse code, though, honestly.
But if you think about it, I'm an Aquarius, I'm an alien, I'm not from here.
Yeah.
Okay? Beep 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 beep.
She just, what did you just say? Translate to me. She said.
I still have my certificates, you know, because you get a little diploma for winning the science fair, you know. So I used to always win the science fair. 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. And all 3 years I did the Morse code. And there was just something about communicating with people that other people didn't understand.
That is so funny. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. And I had the diplomas. I'll show them to you. I kept them. PS11, baby. But when I was going through that spiritual awakening in 2018, I came to a point where I was, like, really depressed and sad. And it was just something in my head that was like, bitch, in Peru and in Ecuador, they do floor baths. So draw yourself a bath and see how you feel. Yeah. I had such an experience in that bath that it's something that, like, I don't even know how to explain. But again, I'm going to be very open and candid and vulnerable. I had sexual trauma. And there was something that happened in that bath that I felt like all of that came up and at the same time left my body. And after I did that bath is when I was like, okay, this is something that works for me. This is something that I like. This is something that made me feel better. I remember that the song "Stand By Me" came on.
In the night.
But the one with the Stand by Florence and the machine. Florence,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Florence and the Machine. Very
So,
indie.
yeah, very indie. So I had that song when they came up. I just put it on repeat, and I was singing that song to me in the bed, but I was singing it to myself. Cause as long as I stand by me, fuck what anybody else gotta say, right? It's like
I love that song, by the way.
Yeah, I love that song.
And that's literally the first song I learned how to play guitar.
Really?
So
oh, we're gonna have to have you play that here too, okay? But that's where it started, and then little by little, I started just with my friends, like doing bets on my friends, family members, reading cards on like family members, and now we're here and met Anthony in the Crystal Garden.
In Crystal's Garden, yeah.
And we were both working together there too.
Yeah,
we were recording videos. He would record me. I would do the videos.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I was. It's funny how we met. It's I remember I worked at Crystal's Garden for like at least 4 years.
How do you know how I came across that store?
You want me to tell you how I came across that story? It goes back to amethyst, the crystal amethyst. So I was in the fucking train, right? And I had the intention of like, I've been hearing about these things about crystals, about these rocks. I really want to get into it. They look really cool. Like I've been hearing about the energetic properties of it, and this is also when I came back. I was just like, like I need to get me one. Like I just like something. I was like, I have to. So I'm in the train. Like I don't have no idea where the fuck to look for these crystals. I pop on from 14th Street on. Yeah, I hop on 14th Street on the L train. Like I don't know why I hopped in. I never take the fucking L train. And I just like whatever. I'll just go. I think I want to go to Astor Place, something like that. I don't know. I just go into the fucking L train. I sit down. I look up, and there's this girl like standing on the fucking on the door, and this girl is so like fucking enamored. Like she's like looking at her hands, and she's just like in awe. And I'm like, what is she looking at? And I'm like, she's really looking at a crystal right now, like a purple crystal. And I was like, I have to ask her where she got it, So I'm very shy, so it took a lot of guts in me to just approach a stranger and be like, hey, like, where did you get that? So she was so excited. She was like, oh my God, you should come here to Crystal's Garden. Like I literally just came from there. It's in the East Village, and she gave me a purple card, the business card. So that was like my first interaction with Crystal's Garden. Like got the card, and I just went there, and it was empty. Like I saw my people. Like it's Mexican run. And I just felt, at ease, because at that time too, I was like, part of my spiritual awakening is also like supporting, people of color business and all that stuff, thrifting. Like before thrifting was cool, like I just didn't want to, just put my money into fast fashion and all that other shit. I was really just trying to, be intentional with my energy. So I was excited when I saw my people, and, I picked up my first crystals. He said, oh, just look around and see whatever calls you. So that's my line for everybody who would walk into Crystal's Garden. Just like, if you don't know what you're looking for, just...
They call you.
They call you.
The
energy attracts,
100%.
Like, it's like law of attraction. So the crystals I got, my first crystal was azurite, quartz, red jasper, and I think that was it.
I got my first crystal in Colorado.
Yeah?
Yeah, we went to the museum in Colorado, and I ended up buying an amethyst tree, and that was my first crystal. After this person, one of my friends from back then had told me, well, you're an Aquarius, they like mystical things, look into crystals. Mm-hmm. And it's something with the amethyst that calls you, and It is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful stone.
It's absolutely beautiful.
I also believe in duendes. How would you say duendes in English? It's not gnomes, right? No.
Gnomes? Elves?
Elves?
No.
They're not doors. At first I would call them doors.
I thought about Sleeping Beauty.
No, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Snow White, there you go. Yeah. But she's a Disney princess in her own world.
I am. I live in my own little fantasy world.
But
with my 7 dwarves.
Yeah, there's so much things to talk about. Like with spirituality, it's like a endless, stream of just so many things you could, talk about. So we're trying to like cling on to topics, but it's so rich. So we're definitely going to be talking more about it, like just things in more detail.
It's like the birth chart. People always think, oh, well, I'm an Aquarius and he's a Cancer and that's it. There is so much more to you being a Cancer, so much more to me being an Aquarius, because we all have a birth chart.
Yeah.
So we have different placements, different signs, and different planets. And all of these signs and all of these planets are prime components of who we are, how we evolve, how we grow, how we love, how we think, how we act, you know?
Yeah.
So it's important for you guys to know your birth chart, because you'll learn to understand yourself. You'll figure out all your toxic traits and all your good traits. And just because your toxic traits are there, it doesn't mean that you get to say, okay, I'm toxic and that's it. This is who I am. No, they're there for you to find ways to work around them or work with them.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. I want to get, now that you mentioned that, I want to touch upon, our synastry chart.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, like why we get along very well.
Very well.
So yeah, let's get into that. All right, we're back. Yeah, we had we had to actually look up at our charts and stuff and just kind of get our planets aligned, because anyone knows within astrology, really, you have to make sure you know the details,
the placements,
right? And it's very important. If astrology tells you, oh, it's okay, we don't need your birth time, they are fucking wrong. The birth time is literally the snapshot of your existence. In that fucking second, millisecond, everything matters, Well, to me, I feel like,
it does.
Other people could have a, broad reading, but if you really look at it like precisely, you could get a lot of information.
Yeah, because when it comes to like your rising, the planet that rules your rising is the planet that's basically steering your life boat.
Exactly.
And in order for you to find out what your rising is, you need to know what time you were born.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well said. So yeah, if you guys ever, decide to get to dive into wanting to know a little bit more about yourself, it's always good to tell your mom,
what time was it born?
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what a birth chart is, a birth chart is basically a snapshot or a blueprint of the sky, the exact moment that you were born. Every planet, every sign was in a different planet, and like I mentioned earlier, they're all a prime component of who we are.
Right. So, for an example, usually people talk about the big three, which is like, our sun, the moon, and the rising, which is the time of your birth. But I like to, when I do it, like right now, I'm gonna do a little mini synastry chart, meaning like compatible chart, and you can do this with your friends, your lovers, family. Usually when you're comparing charts like within two people, it tells you a lot about how their connection really works well with each other. So looking at ours, I was just like, there's so many parallels and so many differences at the same time.
Our charts are so alike but so different.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that's why we balance each other out very well. So I'm a Sun, Cancer, Moon, Scorpio, Rising, Virgo. My Mars is in Gemini, my Venus is in Virgo, and my Mercury's in Cancer. I didn't really go chronological order of planets, but yeah. So one thing straight out the bat, I'll tell you, and it's a little secret of mine that I swear I feel so uncomfortable sharing this with a lot of people, with everybody really, is that I have no fire placements in my chart. Like I'm purely water.
Blew my mind.
Purely water, earth, and the only quote unquote masculine sign I have is the Gemini and Mars. So
you have a lot of feminine. That's another thing. There are signs that are feminine signs and signs that are masculine signs.
Yes, and when we say that, it's more like energetic.
Energetic. Yes.
like polarities.
Yes.
Like there's a electricity and there's magnetism. There's we see this constantly in nature. So they are also placed in categories like that, feminine, masculine, or fixed, mutable, and cardinal signs. So I know we're talking a lot, but we'll get more into details throughout the podcast. There's different series we'll talk more about astrology and stuff. But for right now, I feel like this is why me and her just mesh. She is fucking fire.
Fire.
You know?
3 Sagittarius placement and an Aries placement. That's 4 fire signs. And then I got 2 water, I got 2 earth, and I got 2 air.
Yeah. She's basically.
But the fire's there.
Well, yeah. So her Mars is in Aries and my Mars is in Gemini, and it's the Mars is the planet of action.
Action, how you act, how you do things.
Yeah, it's kind of like our motivation. It's how we portray our energy. And a lot of times, and with that being said, it could be shown in your life so many different ways. So her Mars is in Aries.
Aries, baby.
Yeah, mine is in Gemini. I'm very creative. I talk a lot with my hands. I think I'm a good speaker sometimes. I used to do a lot of public speaking when I used to do a lot of the research. Things I would have to go in and present my research poster amongst fellow scientists. So it was a lot of that too in my past, career and stuff. So, but what I want to say is that our Mars and coincide very well together. Like Aries and Gemini get along all the time. Great. Fire and air, they feed off of each other. So I found that very cool.
And as my Mars in Aries, this is what makes me like that go-getter. I like to lead. I like to be in fun. I like to pave the way if possible. I like to tell motherfuckers what to do. This is why business management. I did construction for over 6 years, and it's telling old man what to do. That's my Mars in Aries. I like to be first. I like to take the lead. Aries was basically out in the sky, paving the way for the rest of the signs to come by and to come and follow his or path. Right?
Yeah, Aries is the first sign of the astrological calendar.
Born leaders. Yeah. They like to take action. Just born leaders.
And I love that. I love that about her, because sometimes I just be like, I'll do it some other time, or I'm very just very mellow.
Let's go.
And then I'm just like, let's fucking go. So that's another way we complement each other too. She surprisingly, again, has a lot of masculine side, and I have
a lot of masculine side. That's the bro in me, bro.
That's
I'm very girly. I am very girly.
Yeah, and you see, and you're a female with a lot of this masculine traits, and I am a male with a lot of feminine traits. So again, we balance each other out like that. I'm pretty sure she appreciates how calm and collective I really am sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Perhaps too much, but I'm very mellow. I don't really let a lot of things faze me, but it's also not because I don't care. It's because I taught myself how to do that. As a kid, I used to be very emotional. I used to be very sensitive as a Cancer. We are known for the crybaby signs of the zodiac.
Crybabies, you and Pisces.
A lot of water signs, but I also have a lot of Scorpio in me. So I used to get very sad and just in general, just things in life. You ever think about shit and you just get sad? Used to be me.
That's a Capricorn in me.
That's her moon in Capricorn. And going to my sun's sign is Cancer. Her moon sign is in Capricorn, and they're sister signs. They're opposites of each other. And when we talk about opposites, we talk about it's like you ever look at a scale, one thing weighs and it just tips the scale. So a balance, happens a lot within the energies in the universe. Because if not, things would just be complete chaos.
Yeah.
So there has to be a balancing act. And God has managed a way to create this wonderful balancing act. And so her moon in Capricorn coincides very well with my sun in Cancer. So she's very structured. If you really get to know Daisy, she's even with this pocket, she's like, yo, tell me how much you spend. You have to do this receipt. We're doing LLC. We have to do this and that.
The spreadsheets. We gotta write everything down. Expenses, bitches. Hello, tax deductible, bro.
I'm an emotional spender. I'm just like, oh, whatever. I spend $80 on this, the piece of equipment. I wasn't thinking about compensation, but I appreciate that, about her. So again, that's another way we compliment each other.
I used to say I was a walking contradiction until I learned about my birth chart, because I am very free. Like, I really don't give a damn about anything, and I am very free. But at the same time, like, no. I need my rules. I need my structure. I need certain things to be in certain order. So I'm like, what is going on with me? I'm a freaking walking contradiction. And then I learned about the sun, the moon, and I'm like, oh, okay, how do we make them work together?
Yeah, and that's the thing about exactly what she said. Your astrology chart is to make them work for you. It's not to be, like this is my destiny. This is just who I am. Like, no, you have free will. You have the power to. You are the whole universe. We are like in the nano specks of like the cosmos, like literally. So, with that being said, how can you limit yourself to a certain thing when you're everything?
When you're everything, 100%.
So that's the reason why I study astrology, is because, like she said, you see the good traits and you also see the bad traits. And if you notice your bad traits, then you have the chance to change.
100%.
So, and a lot of that is what we in the spiritual community call shadow work. It is it's a part of the fucking journey. It is very intense. But yeah. Oh, another thing that we have in common too is I have a lot of Scorpio energy in me too, which is like I have a stellium in my Scorpio chart. I have a stellium in Scorpio, is what I'm trying to say. And as an Aquarius, we both are fixed signs.
Yeah.
So, and we're also very into the mystical as well. So that's why me and her just vibe out, because we could talk about these kind of things for days and like never get tired of it. Yeah, no, like this is why I feel like we do well with this type of topics, and that's why we wanted to do this podcast, because like hopefully people could relate, to our friendship and to what we have, and yeah, I appreciate her for that,
I appreciate him because he is like, I feel like one of the things that, and it's funny because he did tell me before we started the video, like, oh, you've grown, because I was like, oh, let me hug you. He wanted to handshake me, and I said, no, let me hug you. It's like, you've grown. I don't like being touched. And I think that was one of the things we spoke about it last night too. I hate, like, Anthony's very hands-on.
Yeah,
right?
I'm very, like, my love language is physical.
To me, it's
touch.
like, please don't touch me. If you're not my man, you're not my husband, you're not my boyfriend, don't touch me. And you're not my lover, don't touch me. None of them, and all of them right now are non-existent, right? So, like, don't touch me. But again, I started like doing a lot of shadow work as to like, why does it bother you? Why, like, I know Anthony's not being sexual. He's not, that's just that's how he shows love. And it took a lot. It's been years. And now like, jiu-jitsu, that's why I train jiu-jitsu, because I don't like being touched. And that is a pretty much a contact sport. You're on top of each other. They're suffocating. So you have to deal with being touched. So I do appreciate that from him, because sometimes I forget I'm very detached. And I can be lovey-dovey with my partner, the person that I'm with, but with other people, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like if I see you crying, I'll be like, oh my God, what do I do? Should I eat? Should I not eat? Should I tap you? Should I hug you? What do I do?
Yeah.
But like, I feel like you have really like pushed me to like, okay, yeah, not everybody has a sexual thing. Like it's not always sexual. It's not always, that they want you, it's... This is just how I show love and affection, and it's okay. And again, that also comes to like him being having all these feminine signs, and me having so many masculine signs. I think it's also the Capricorn. Capricorn motherfuckers are boring, and they really don't know how to show affection. I feel
it's exclusive, like you said. It's exclusive to your partner. But me, like as a water sign, as a Cancer, my Mercury's in Cancer too. Like. We just have this sense of unconditional love. Like, I just, like, I don't know, like, it just comes naturally to me. Like, I just, if I really like something, I don't see why do I have to hide my, my appreciation for the beauty of people and things and everything I see.
Which is you also being vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people have trouble with being vulnerable. I'm okay with being vulnerable with certain people. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, and if I'm doing that in camera, it's different too, because like there's nobody here watching us but me and you, right? Yeah. So it's a little different, but it's you being vulnerable, and I appreciate that, because sometimes I forget it. I'm so focused on like either being structured or being detached that I forget that like, yo, it's okay to be vulnerable.
absolutely.
And if people do hurt you, like, it's okay. They're gonna hurt you regardless, you know.
Yeah,
So like,
fuck them.
Yeah, fuck it. Just get up and you keep going on to the next, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I want to go back to what you said when you said, "Oh, like how physical touch is one of my love languages." And when she came in for the hug, I dapped her up because I was just like, I you know what I mean? She was like, "I'll give you a hug," because I remember that one time we had an ayahuasca journey. And she invited me. That's another long story.
That's another story.
But yeah.
You were the first person I guided in an ayahuasca ceremony.
Dude, and that was the first and last time I did that. I got what I needed from that journey. But at the end, like, she thankfully she gave me, a place to stay. And I said, can I give you a hug? And she was very hesitant, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, come here, let me give you a hug. And, because I really appreciate it. There's no other way for me to kind of like show her like how much I appreciated this journey and for her being there with me and taking care of me and, keeping an eye out for each other, So I wanted to, give you that hug for that reason, because one of my spiritual elders, he's a male, and he hugged me like as a greeting. I'm just like, this is kind of weird. Like, what kind of guy just hugs another guy, like a stranger, hi, or like says bye and hugs another guy? Like, I never in my life, people would think, twice about you. But when he did that, I was just like, I asked him, I was like, why do you always hug me? And he's like, because that's how our hearts handshake. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally like, it's more deeper than a pound. It's more deeper than like like regular greetings. Yeah, it's like heart to heart, like so when he said it like that, he put it in those words, and I started hugging my bros, like and they would look at me like, yo, what the fuck? But now I see it as normal. Like, to me, like, go hug your bro. Hug your bro.
See, to me, the thing, like, I'm okay with hugging. I've always been okay with hugging my friends, my girlfriends. That's never been an issue. It's always just been with guys.
Well, yeah.
But then again, that comes into like the sexual trauma. Right. I don't care how close we are. Just like, don't hug me, don't touch me. Yeah. Now I'm not like that. Like, now again, I train jiu-jitsu. I'm jumping on guys and like trying to choke them out and like do all these crazy things that I normally wouldn't do 6-7 years ago. When we first met.
Yeah. And that's and I love that for you. I love that healing journey because, as a Mars and Aries, she needed something physical and something slightly violent to kind of help her, heal that trauma,
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, kick some ass.
And striking.
Yeah, it's just...
I got a punching bag in my house.
She does have a punching bag.
Believe me, anger management, like, that's how I deal with it. When I'm mad or I gotta let something out, I go in my punching bag and boom, 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 and then it's out.
I'm very opposite. Like, my Mars is in Gemini, so I have to do something with my hands so I play guitar.
Very creative.
Yeah, I just lock myself in my room and I just play guitar for like.
I think, and I appreciate that about you the most because like even when we were starting out, I'm a little clumsy, so I almost knocked over the camera.
Yeah, and we're filming with the Leica. Shout out to my boy Free.
Shout out Free, thank you Free. Yeah, almost knocked out your camera, bro.
I caught it.
And he was like, "You're just," what was it he said? I
don't know.
But that I'm just like creating the content to like sit down.
Oh yeah, she was like, oh, can I lend you a hand?
Can I help you with something?
I was setting up all the cameras, all the mics and stuff, and I was just I was in my zone. And she's like, can I help you with something? I'm just like, nah, you're the talent. Just sit there.
You're the talent. Just sit there
and speak and talent. Use your talents.
And I appreciate that because, again, like I also do my own videos and I'm tired of like editing and recording and like setting up and doing these things. And Anthony actually loves doing these things, and it's this is how we started in the Crystal's Garden. That he will record, edit the videos, and I'm here just, he will record me doing the videos, right? So. It's something that I appreciate because you are a very creative person. You love music, you love singing, you love touching your instruments, playing your instruments. But you're very touching your instruments.
The skin flute. But no, continue.
But you are very creative. I love how the amount of detail that you put into all of the videos that we've created, and everything that you do create, there's so much attention to detail there. There's something, and that's something that, like, I feel, oh God, thank God I don't have to worry about this right now, because it's tiring. Editing videos, for those of you who do it, it's tiring. Creating content, it's a lot.
It's a lot of
work.
And
you're very creative.
I think it's also like, going back to astrology, just like my Venus is in Virgo. So like Virgos are really known for like almost OCD tendencies to just like see everything, the little details matters, So that satisfies that itch in my world, like just editing or like doing anything meticulous. Like I don't know, I just feel like I could focus. Like, I don't know, my ADHD just calms.
Your Virgo, so this is why it works, right? His Virgo, that's a nurse sign. Capricorn is also a nurse sign, right? So he's the one in charge of like making sure that everything's in order, doing the videos, like he just said, and then I'm the one with the spreadsheets. Where's the money going? What are we doing? Where are we investing? Like, it's okay that you like to spend. I know you like to spend, and he doesn't think about the spending. No.
I'm like, God got me.
Boom, 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 boom. So in that sense, it works out so great because he gets to do that part, and then I get to do this part, the accountant part of what we're doing.
I do need that.
So it works out. We balance each other out so much. Do you want to say something else?
No, as you can see, like, this is our chemistry, this is, how astrology works in beautiful and mysterious ways. You could see the puzzle, just how it fits in. One would think, oh my God, like, oh, we're so opposite, you know what I mean? But in a way, there's a reason why, we vibe off of each other, and it's written in the stars, like...
I think one of the things that you said yesterday that really hit me, because we were talking about this last night, was the Venus. Mm-hmm. Because when we're talking about the planets, like again, every planet refers to something different, and Venus is how you love. Yeah. So when we were doing the synastry, he brought it up as to like how we will be in a romantic relationship.
And I had to emphasize, like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
you're beautiful, you're gorgeous.
Yeah,
Thank you. All of this and above, but for some reason, like, that spark.
It's not in the stars.
It's not in the stars. Like,
my Venus is in Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Your Venus in Virgo.
Virgo, right.
That's fire and earth. No. What happens when you put fire and earth together?
She'll burn. She's gonna die.
Right! Everybody dies,
Destruction, ash, and sadness.
Destruction. Which is why it's important for you to know your birth chart, because this is gonna help you with all your relationships, not just romantic relationships, but your partnerships. If you're trying to start a business, if you're whatever it is that you're trying to do, this is gonna help you. So we know, we're aware. Like, again, I love him. I think he's also gorgeous and stuff, but we're not. It wouldn't work. And romantically, if we were to get involved, it would be like the destruction of our podcast and everything that we're trying to do.
It's about friendship, And
destruction of our friendship, yeah.
There's something that you have to value, like certain things in life, you know what I mean? And I value, what we have, as friends, and and right now, I guess as business partners or whatever we're gonna do after this. But yeah, that's that. So we just want to conclude. In a way, thank you for listening. We appreciate, your time.
Thank you for coming to our podcast.
Yeah.
Spirit Speaks.
Spirit Speaks. We're going to continue doing this on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. Depends, in New York, things get busy, so...
We're going to do this on a weekly basis.
There you go.
Weekly basis, not bi-weekly. No, weekly basis. This is going to happen. Unless, God forbid, something happens that we can't be here, it will happen on a weekly basis. So stay tuned, bitches, because we have already so many topics.
Yes. The next topic, we want to talk about something that's so, connected to us, which is plant medicine. As she mentioned before, and as I've also mentioned, we both deal with plant medicine in many different ways, but also it is all for the good intention of healing the soul, healing the mind, healing the body, and
there's a big misconception with plant medicine as well, and that's something that we're going to touch into our next podcast. And because a lot of people feel like, oh, let me do ayahuasca, let me do mushrooms, or let me do rapé, or let me do kambo, whatever, and this is going to change me, this is going to cure me. And it goes the same thing with spiritual healing. There's people that think, oh, let me get a cleanse and I'm going to be fine and this is going to heal me. That's not what it does. But what get into it. That's the wrong intention. There's a lot of, we'll get into it again, but when you go to Ecuador and Peru, there are people that will tell you, come with me, I'll take you to the ayahuasca right now. That's not how it works. Anyone that says that to you, that is not how it works. And this is why people get scammed.
Yeah. No, there's definitely like a corruption that's been going on with, and it's honestly since like it's historical really. They've been trying to ban, like nature for the longest time. It's part of the scheme of things because it expands our mind. It definitely helps us just through life. It's funny. That's kind of how me and her started getting more. Getting to know each other better because I used to be a huge pothead, and she was the plug. The
plug for everything.
Yeah. So I was just like, yo.
He was out here trapping.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. Let me delete that.
No, we're gonna keep that in there. But yeah, that's how we got our love through plant medicine. We shared that love, but then it's just a beautiful thing. And me as a plant scientist, like I'm just always so amazed of like how powerful the nature, Mother Earth really is. So we're gonna be talking about that next week. This was Spirit Speaks with Anthony
and Daisy Chazzy One, and thank you for tuning in. This was our little introduction as to who we are.
Yeah.
We're gonna have way more topics, and if you guys have any ideas or anything that you guys want to hear us talk about, let us know.
Yeah, write it down in the comments.
Yes, we're here to talk our shit.
We're gonna just end it, I guess, with some vibration and just end it like that. Just closing the portal and thanking everybody for
showing up.
Yeah, spending
and
some time
showing
with
us love.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
I am very big on telling people I love them. That is something that I've always been big on. Don't touch me, but I tell you I love you. Now I'm okay with physical touch now.
Yeah, I told. Yeah.